I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, before we get the roll call, Tom, I just want to explain that I'm bummed out. I just started my quarantine protocol this morning after learning that I had some close contact with somebody who tested positive. So I'll be Zooming in and council member at large Austin. If it does get awkward, I would appreciate you maybe stepping in for me if you could, but we're going to try this remotely. Thank you in advance. Roll call, Mr. Dankert.
Mayor King.
Present.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Present.
Councilmember Waller.
Present.
Postma.
Present.
Bashusta.
Present.
Fisher.
Present.
Baskin.
Present.
Obala.
Present.
We have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Dankert. For item number 1, looking for a motion adopting of the agenda and with the additions.
And please say your name so we can hear it.
So move the motion.
Fisher.
Second.
Baskin.
Yeah, sorry.
Paul
and Jason.
Thank you for the motion and the second. Mr. Dankert?
Councilmember Waller.
Aye.
Postma.
Aye.
Bashusta.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Baskin.
Aye.
Obala.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. Moving right along to item number 2, looking to approve the minutes from meeting February 16th, 2021.
This is Joyce. I approve.
Mike, second.
Thank you, Joyce. Thank you, Mike. Mr. Dankert?
Councilmember Waller.
Aye.
Postma.
Aye.
Bashusta.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Baskin.
Aye.
Obala.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. Item number 3, recognition and awards. We have first off the promotion of Officer Hartman to lieutenant, and I really wish I could be here for that personally, but I'll have to do it virtually because of the COVID. Chief McKeegan, you have some words regarding Mr. Hartman's, Officer Hartman's promotion to lieutenant.
I do. I'd like to start with acknowledging that this particular opening was created when John Mueller, who's worked for us since 1994, retired on Friday. John did an outstanding job for us, and we're certainly going to miss him as a department and as a city in that role as a police officer. It does, however, give an opportunity to one of our young leaders to take the mantle of lieutenant. That is the 3rd highest rank within our department. And it's a good time for Mike to do that. Mike's badge number is 103. John's was 73, and we're on badge 133 would be the next higher. So it sets up good, kind of in his career to go and do this. Well, Mike will fill John's role. We'll still wait and see if we'll end up filling John's ultimate position at those 34 officers. But Mike's been with us for quite some time. He was our afternoon sergeant for a number of years. He transitioned. He's been working nights. I believe it's been 2 years now since he's been our night sergeant. So again, he has some experience with supervising our staff, with being in charge of our department during some of those overnight hours and handling the type of calls that he'll see as lieutenant. He'll get a little more responsibility in that 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock window now that he's a lieutenant versus a sergeant. He's a member of our CERT team. He's also our use of force instructor. So again, a great opportunity, and we're very happy to promote him to the position of lieutenant. And we generally have a family member pin the bars on that signify that particular rank. You'll see him on Jeff's collar there, who's one of our other lieutenants. So Mike, you have someone you want to pin the bars on for you?
Whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I'm sorry, everybody, this is my father, Ken. Then I've got my mom back there, Mary, my wife Danielle, and then I've got Addison and my little man Vincent. So,
Proud moment for Mary and I, thank you.
yeah.
Right here?
We've only drawn blood like on 3 of these, so.
Jeez. Yeah, talk about blood, yes.
I was thinking more Mike's, not your own, but
Yeah, we might have to adjust them. That's all right. Blood on you. You can tell it's a good uniform when it's nice and thick like that. Like the old days.
just wonder how he got the stripes off without him showing too much there. A little bit.
Professional.
Congratulations, Mike and family. Look forward to having you in that role.
Congratulations, Lieutenant Hartman. And Lieutenant Hartman, before you walk away, please, to the podium if you could. Just want to give you an opportunity to, tell maybe throughout your career how impactful the Moore County Corrections has been for you and how supportive they've been for you.
Lots of
Take the
paperwork.
opportunity to mention a few words, but kudos to you, Mike. Really, well earned on the promotion, and it's got to be an honor, even doubly, to see McKeegan dress up in a suit like he does for this occasion. So, but it's quite an honor, and again, a well deserved, and it means a lot, I'm sure, to have your dad pin those bars on you. So, congrats.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Congratulations, Mike.
And then next up on item number 3, we have the Austin Positive Action Coalition. Bill Spitzer, and I also saw Danielle Nesvold on the call too. So these folks are two actually very, very positive people in our community, and we value them greatly. Bill, Danielle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, members of the council, department heads, and members attending. Appreciate that for giving us an opportunity. If I may share my screen.
Sure.
And does everybody have that on their monitors?
Yes.
I do.
Perfect. Well, first of all, I want to thank thank you for giving us the opportunity to share our annual report. We try to report out to the council and the other boards in Austin of just kind of what we've been doing for the past year. I know we didn't get an opportunity to do that last year because of the COVID restrictions. So we'll kind of combined about 18 months worth. So I appreciate to giving us the opportunity to do that. Just a little brief overview of what we're going to talk about tonight. We'll talk a little bit about hope. That's kind of what our grant is mainly about, is to try to look at the hope versus the concern, but we also acknowledge that there are concerns that people may have centered around some of the activities that we do. And also we'll talk a little bit about APAC, Austin Positive Action Coalition. Hopefully you've heard of that before. And maybe something that you haven't heard referred to as the P&I grant, but that's basically the funding behind APAC, which is the planning and implementation grant that we are currently in. We'll talk a little bit about the surveying that we have done and what we plan to continue to do, and also the positive community norm messages that maybe you've seen around the Austin community. And we'll also talk about, what people can do as a community and what businesses can do to help our efforts. So appreciate that, and that's kind of what we'll start out covering tonight. We want to start out first of some of you may have seen this graphic before, but most of our work is centered around what's called the science of the positive. We start out with the spirit, and that basically gives us the initiative and the effort to talk about, why we want to do what we're doing. And then we back that spirit up with science. That's where we do the data collection through a number of different surveys. And the action part, which, a lot of times is the actual stuff that you see around the community, whether it be the billboards or some of the other posters that may contain our messages. And then the return, basically, was that effective? Was that something that we left people with a positive attitude and positive results? So we base all of our work around the science of the positive. And of course, it's something that continues to move over and over again. So once we reflect on that, we also go back to the spirit, why we're doing this. So why are we doing it? Well, basically, it's for the kids. We want to make sure that we have our young people that are healthy and resilient and productive and also safe in our community. And that's kind of the driving force of our coalition and the driving force of our efforts. For some of you, I know that maybe you're not familiar with the P&I grant, so we'll just briefly kind of tell you a little bit about that. It was a 5-year effort. We're on 4.5 years right now, so we're on the final 6 months of the 5-year grant. Basically, 9 other communities in the state of Minnesota also received a similar grant, just like we did in Austin here. And the gold-colored ones are the ones that are currently under the P&I grant this year. The red and the purple are the other communities that took part in that in the past 10 years. So this is the year 15 that this grant has been in effect and has a very good track record of reducing underage consumption of alcohol, or in our case, we also work with marijuana and vaping as well as part of our focus. And of course, as you can read on the screen here, we also try to engage youth in a student group at the school as well. So it's not just centered around messaging. So what about APAC, Austin Positive Action Coalition? It was, or it still is, a group of individuals that are made up of a number of community members from different sectors. One being Mr. Mayor, and also your police chief is also a member of our coalition. We meet the last Wednesday of the month, and like I said, we're represented by 14 different sectors. So we got the healthcare, education, parents, criminal justice, etc. So we're a very diverse group of backgrounds, and one of the things that we're continually working on is to try to have a diverse representation on the board as well. Like I said, this group is kind of the think tank and the steering group behind all of our efforts, and it also enables us to get a little pulse of the community. Now, most recently, of course, we have been restricted to Zoom, but we do look forward to the time when we will be back in person. Surveying. All this stuff that we do is based on data, and I'm kind of a data geek, so this is a perfect job for me. It's based on different surveys. We do not just students, but we also do parents and community members. So we survey the middle school students, Pacelli students, and also the Austin High students. The last student survey was done in 2019, and we're set to do another student survey this year coming up next month. We did a parent survey in 2020 where we did phone interviews, and we'll share just a small little piece of data tonight on what we learned there. So starting out with the Positive Community Norms Student Survey, as you can see, one of the things that is different from the way we report out compared to maybe what you're more familiar with is we try to focus on the positive, like Mayor King had said. We try to look at the students that are not drinking in a typical month. For example, 85% of our high school students have said that they do not drink in a typical month, which is, incredible, really, if you start looking at it from that angle instead of looking at the 15% that said that they do. Now, the one thing that I want you to pay close attention to is we also ask them what they think their fellow students are doing. And this is the perception data right here. That's the 64%. So when you ask them if they personally use alcohol in a typical month, 85% say that they don't. But when you ask them the question, how many you think of your fellow students are using, that number drops to 64. So what we call that is our perception gap. And if the more that we narrow that perception gap and bring it up to reality, the less students that are going to be using. Also, we had the middle school data and the combined data. So our middle school students, 96% of those middle school students said that they do not drink in a typical month. We also interview or survey behavior on marijuana and also vaping as well. We also conducted a parent survey last year, and just a little bit of information that we gathered out of there. Remember that statistic that I just shared with you about the 85% of the high school students that said that they did not drink? When we asked those community members, only 34% of them guessed that that was the correct number. So we still have a little bit of educating to do from our community members to let them know what the reality is. And sometimes we get that false perception that everybody at the high school drinks or all high school students drink. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we get that fact out there of what the students are telling us and make sure that our parents and community members know that true fact there. One of the other data pieces that I'll share with you is that when we asked them, what do they think that their responsibility was, 81% of our citizens in Austin had said that it's part of their responsibility to make sure that our young people are healthy and that their well-being is taken care of. So that's very good. That's a very, very caring community that says things like that. So that's a great statistic from our parent survey. And the one that I'm going to share at the end is also one I'll share right now too. And that is 89% of the parents that were surveyed believe that it's important to work at reducing underage consumption. So that's very good. That shows that they support the coalition's work and the work that we're doing. So that's a good statistic to hang our hat on. Just a couple of things that we'll finish up with. One is that it's an ecology that is not just a coalition. It's based on a lot of different things. You as council members, you as department heads are very important in the process of eliminating or reducing the number of individuals that are consuming underage. And the more that we educate and the more that we increase that communication and integrate the way that we're thinking and just some leadership decisions, all those things play into the part of reducing those underage consumptions. The more that we can use these positive community norms, which is focusing on the positive versus the negative. How do we do that? We do that in a number of different ways. Some of these messages you've seen on billboards, some of them you may have seen on flyers or posters as well. So that's one of the ways that we do this. So state fiscal year number 4, the last year of the grant, these are some of the messages that we put out there to try to educate our young people, try to educate our community members of what the actual activity is that our young people are doing. Like I mentioned briefly, is we have a group called STAND, Students Taking a New Direction. This is a group of young people at the high school and at Ellis and at Pacelli that work to try to get that message out and also to actually thank the community for doing their part as well. One of the things that we did was thanked a lot of the members of our community for not providing alcohol to minors, and we did that through an activity called Sticker Shock, where the young people, along with police officers and other adults, partnered up with the liquor stores in Austin and placed these stickers on a number of the products as well. To remind people not to serve to minors, and also to say thank you for supporting us in the work that we do. They also took part in a lot of team building activities. As you can see, some of these are pre-COVID and some of these were during COVID. We did some activities with the pumpkins, providing that ray of light for our seniors. They decorated pumpkins and gave those to the St. Mark's residents as a way to give them hope in the things that we do. The group in the center that is in front of the high school, that group went to Ellis Middle School and talked to the middle school students about the importance of being an upstander versus a bystander. And then the canoe ride, that was very interesting. We took almost 20 students on a canoe trip, and over 80% of them, it was their first time on a canoe. So that was very entertaining at times, for sure. Like I said, I was going to come back to this statistic right here about the 89% agree it's important to have groups working together. This is really important because we did an activity a couple of weeks ago called ripple mapping. And this is a lot of the areas that we impacted over the last 5 years. So it was kind of impressive because sometimes we just think that it's just the messages that we see on the billboard, but there's a number of different areas that were impacted by the work that the coalition did, the work of the student group, and also just members of the community helped do some of the activities that we carried out. So we'll be releasing a report in the next several weeks that will show all the different activities that were linked back to the grant. So you'll have an opportunity to actually see what our work was all about. As we bring to a close, one of the things that we talked about is how the important things that we do for the community to make sure that we have some hope. And this was one of the activities that we did during the beginning of COVID. And some of you may have seen some of these lawn signs around the community. And it all brings back the why. Why do we do this? It's pretty simple. We want to make sure that our youth, like I said, are healthy, resilient, productive, and safe. Thank you to the mayor. He has been a very supportive person on the coalition, as well as the police chief and the other members of the council that have helped us behind the scenes. So we just want to say thank you for doing that. And if you have any questions whatsoever, Danielle Nesvold or myself are the contact people for the grant. I will open it up for any questions that you may have. But before I do that, I'm just going to show you one last thing that hopefully everyone had in their packets. And this is basically the year-end report. So hopefully you had a chance to see this. Hopefully this was in your packets. And this is just like a brief synopsis of what we have done over the last 4 years to just kind of give you an idea of what we do. And on the back page were some statistical numbers. So with that, I will open it up for any questions that you may have about our organization.
Bill and Danielle, Steve King speaking. I just want to recognize the great amount of work that you folks have done, leading a lot of volunteers, certainly in the right direction. I think our student surveys over the years bear out the great work you're doing. And again, the message of providing accurate information rather than perspective is very, very positive and hopeful. So I appreciate the work you've both done.
Thank you.
And open it up to anybody else in the council for comments or questions.
Hey, Bill, Jason Baskin, and I'd echo what the mayor said. I mean, just outstanding work by your group, and I think the idea of positive community norms is so powerful. Do you guys track like the student surveys over time where you're able to show like, hey, it was 72% at the beginning of our coalition, and now it's 79% or whatever that is?
We are, Councilman Baskin, and we're very excited to see what those numbers are going to come back at. We'll be doing those comparisons after we get that data from this next survey. Unfortunately, they tell us that we're going to have to put an asterisk by our data just because of COVID-19, but I mean, it's going to give us a pretty good idea of where we're at.
Cool, that's great.
All right, any other questions or comments for Bill or Danielle?
Yeah, I guess council member Jeff Austin here. It says it's a 5-year initiative that funds this, and you said you're on at year 4.5. What happens at the end of 5 years?
Councilman Austin, thanks for catching that. We did have an opportunity to put together a sustainability plan. We started that about a year ago. And because of the efforts of the group, we were able to secure an additional 5 years on what's called a drug-free communities grant. The one major difference from the drug-free community grant and the current grant that we're under is about a $25,000 marketing budget. So a lot of the billboards and a lot of the posters and things that you've seen around the community, we have to look for other funding sources now with the new grant because we're not going to be able to do a lot of those efforts. So we'll do it the old-fashioned way because that works just as well, hand-done posters or whatever, but we'll be looking for other methods to continue that marketing campaign. But thank you, Councilman Austin, for pointing that out and reminding me to share that great news, because you're stuck with us for another 5 years.
Love it.
Thank you.
All right.
Bill,
Danielle, any comments?
oh,
Oh, go ahead, Obama.
sorry, Mayor. Bill and Daniel, this is Obala. I just want to applaud you guys for the work that you guys are doing. This is amazing. The last couple months, I did internship at the high school, and I did a session on the importance of not drinking with the high school student. I was amazed with the rich student, and I feel it when you talk to student as a young person, someone who went through something like that. I think that session really brought a lot of discussion, and the reaction I saw from the student was really astonishing. And I'm like, wow. So we need more discussion with student, and so that they can be part of this, and especially in my community, this is something that I'm trying to work with all the parent, and to be part of this, because if we start them at early young age to tell them important of this is something that will prevent more damage when they're older. So I'm amazed with this. Every time I go to Rochester, I see those messages, and one day I was driving with my niece, and I'm like, do you see that? Do you agree? She's like, yep. I'm like, okay. So because we saw it on the highway, 1 out of 10 of Austin, they did not drink in the last month. So I think this is positive for the community. Keep up the good work, and we are looking forward to be involved more.
Okay, thanks, Obama.
Thank you, Councilman. And Councilman Obala, and we would really love to work with you and partner with you to work with members of your community as well, and reach out as best that we can.
All right. Danielle, always that value add. Anything to add to this conversation?
Well, I love getting more opinions from our members in our community. So if anyone on the council would like to sit down via Zoom or via phone, we're doing a grant requirement of meeting one-to-one with community members to get your opinion about the work that we've been doing. You can be honest with us, and you can let us know how you feel, but I would really, really appreciate your input. So you have our email addresses. You can reach out to us and say, yes, I'd like to sit down. It usually takes about 30 minutes. And we actually have someone at Riverland right now doing as part of her intern hours. And so I could connect you with her. And thank you for your time.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Bill and Danielle. I appreciate the work you're doing, and we'll look forward to the next annual report.
Thank you.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Moving on to the item number 4, looking for a motion for the consent agenda.
So moved, Paul.
Second.
Thank you, Paul. Becky, thank you. Tom?
Councilmember Waller,
Aye.
Postma,
Aye.
Bashusta,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Baskin,
Aye.
Obala,
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. Under bid openings and awards, item number 5, looking for a resolution receiving bids for the seasonal supply of asphalt. Stephen?
Yes, this is the asphalt that we use through our maintenance crews for roadway patching, street patching, and those things. We have 2 bidders locally that bid this type of work. That's Yulin Brothers out of Albert Lee or Glenville, and also Rochester Sand and Gravel. They have a plant near the Stewartville exit on I-90. So looking to minimize our travel time and also maximize the amount of material that we can purchase. So doing that, Yulin Brothers were the low bidder when we incorporate mileage, $265,320. So we would recommend awarding this contract to Yulin Brothers.
Council, questions, comments? Hearing none, looking for 5A, a resolution.
So move the resolution, Paul.
Obala,
Oh,
I
thank you.
second.
Obama, thank you. Tom?
Councilmember Waller,
Aye.
Postma,
Aye.
Bashusta,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Baskin,
Aye.
Obala,
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Dankert. I'm sad that I'm not here in person, there in person to speak to item number 6 and be able to say the word biosolids, but I'll do it virtually. So looking for item number 6, a resolution receiving bids for the removal of biosolids. Stephen?
Mayor, we can always give you a ride along sometime if you would like, but
Maybe the sludge truck too.
yeah. Oyer Trucking has been doing our biosolids hauling at the wastewater treatment plant for the last many years, and they again were the only bidder on this project. They submitted a bid the same as they had in their previous 2-year contract in the amount of $698,400. Again, that's a total for 2 years. 2021 and 2022, we do a spring and a fall haul in order to make sure that our tanks are low enough to handle the storage that they need throughout the course of the year. So we would recommend awarding this project to Oyer Trucking and Pumping LLC.
Thank you, Stephen. Questions, comments, council?
Hey, Stephen, it's Jason. Only
Here.
question is, why did it jump up so much 2 years ago? I mean, is there something structural with it, or just they're the only guys that are in the game?
Yeah, we tried reaching out to other companies this year to see if our number that we had been getting was high because we were only getting one bidder. We're finding that, you know, as with all the other industries, the same thing is hitting the sludge hauling industry, where they're having trouble getting drivers. So some of them looked at us as actually a big project, and they were sticking more with smaller type work. And then to address your comment about why it jumped up, I think we have been getting really good prices in those previous years, and this is more matching the industry norm. These current prices that we've been getting the last couple of years, I think we just benefited those previous years. And again, this is what we're hearing from others that chose not to bid or for whatever reason. But that's just what we're hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Without any other questions, looking for a resolution for item number 6A.
This is Joyce. I so move.
Thank you, Joyce.
Second.
Mike.
Mike, thank you. Tom?
Councilmember Waller,
Aye.
Postma,
Aye.
Pashusta,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Baskin,
Aye.
Obala,
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you, Tom. I see Trish zoomed in for under petitions and requests for motion of item number 7, approving the request for donation of employee sick leave. Trish?
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. Before you tonight is a request from a City of Austin employee, Greg Yoakum, who is currently off recovering from recent surgery and won't be able to return to work until approximately mid-April. And he will run out of his own personal accrued time, paid time off before he's able to return. And he has requested council consider approving his request for donation of sick leave from other fellow employees. The city does have a policy on donated sick leave, so it is allowed with the approval of the council.
Thank you, Trish. This is very generous. Council, any questions for Trish? If not, looking for a motion number 7, approving a request for the donation of employee sick leave.
So move the motion, Paul.
Second, Becky.
Becky, thank you. Second. Tom?
Councilmember Waller,
Aye.
Postma,
Aye.
Pashusta,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Baskin,
Aye.
Obala,
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Thanks, Trish. Item number 8 is a resolution looking to accept the donations of the City of Austin. And I don't have them before me, but in review, I believe they're all going to the fire department. Vicky Spahalski was $25. Could someone help me with the other 2 donations to the fire department? The one was the uniform.
$500 in drinks and food, Casey's to the fire department, and vintage Class A uniforms and badges from LA County Fire, James Roy, to the fire department. Yes.
Excellent. Thank you, Joyce. I always like to recognize the folks Chief
Oh,
McCoy, anything
sorry.
to speak about on that?
We appreciate every donation we receive. Casey's was doing a little house cleaning at their facility and donated quite a large number of products. Mr. Roy contacted us from LA County Fire. His wife had picked up that uniform and he wanted it to come home, and he sent it to us, paid for postage and everything, and sent us that uniform. We're happy to have it, and we're looking for a way to display it in the station. I'd like to say thank you to everybody. And thank you, Vicki, as well.
All right. I appreciate it. Thanks, Jim. And thanks for reading that off, Joyce. I do like to honor those people, recognize those people that are willing to donate to the city. So looking forward to a resolution on number 8, accepting the donations to the city of Austin.
So move the resolution. Paul?
Second, Jason.
Thank you. Jason, thank you. Tom?
Councilmember Waller,
Aye.
Postma,
Aye.
Bashusta,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Baskin,
Aye.
Obala,
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thanks, Tom. Number 9 is a resolution approving the 2020 budget carryovers, budget amendment number 1. Thomas?
First off, Councilmember King, I'll let you know next month I'll probably have the flower donations on, for which there are, 100 or so donations that you'll be able to read off every name for me.
I love it. All right. Thank you. Looking forward to that.
All right, budget adjustment number 1. I received requests from department heads to carry over funds that were allocated or budgeted in 2020 that they didn't spend and want to spend in 2021. The 2020 budget lapses on December 31st, so without council authorization to do those things, they have no authorization to do it. So what budget adjustment number 1 does is amends the budget in 2021 and will include now those items listed that they would like to pay for in 2021 that they didn't get a chance to in 2020 for one reason or another. So we do request council approval for budget amendment number 1.
Council, questions? If not, a resolution, is there one before us for item number 9, approving 2020 budget carryovers?
Jeff, I'll move to approve the resolution.
Joyce,
Thank
second.
you, Jeff. Second. Joyce, thank you. Tom?
Councilmember Waller,
Aye.
Postma,
Aye.
Bashusta,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Baskin,
Aye.
Obala,
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you, Tom. Also yours, item number 10, resolution approving the budget amendment number 2. And I don't think this has anything to do with the biosolids, at least I'm hoping not. Tom?
No, these are all donations from, to incorporate, the acquisition of the new microphones within the city council chambers to be funded from the cable access PEG fee, the Hormel Foundation grants that were approved for 2021, the City of Austin's Grow Austin program for the New Tech project, and an internal budget balance for the property and liability insurance fund. So what this does is we'll again amend the budget for 2021 to allow those things to be put in the budget and then expended from the budget as listed. So I'd recommend or request approval of that budget amendment.
Council, questions or a resolution?
Jeff, so move the resolution.
Second, Waller.
Thank you, Jeff. Becky, thank you. Tom?
Councilmember Waller,
Aye.
Postma,
Aye.
Bashusta,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Baskin,
Aye.
Obala,
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you, Tom. Moving on to resolution for item number 11, approving a consulting services with WHKS for phase 4 of the I&I program. Stephen?
Yeah, this is our 4th year of this program, which we started in 2018. We have completed all of the south portion of Austin, everything south of Oakland Avenue. We started in the southeast quadrant and then moved to what we called the inner southwest. And then in 2020, we completed a majority of the outer southwest. But things that we are doing as part of the project is we're looking to reduce clear water from getting into the sanitary sewer system. That involves sanitary sewer televising, manhole inspections, sump pump inspections, smoke testing, dye testing. A lot of different parts of this program are involved. And we received a proposal from WHKS in the amount of $137,000 to continue this work in the Northeast quadrant this year, excluding sump pumps. In 2020, we were not able to do sump pumps in the outer Southwest area due to the pandemic, so we put that on hold. We're going to start that up again this summer, likely around July 1st. So it's our goal to get the Southwest quadrant sump pumps finished up in 2020, along with all the other work except sump pumps in the Northeast quadrant to kind of keep the program moving. And in future years, we will look to catch up on those sump pump inspections in the northerly sectors. So we would recommend approving this contract with WHKS in the amount of $137,000.
And Stephen, what is your percentage of people, if the non-compliant might be the wrong word, but what's your percentage thus far of those folks that don't pass the smoke test?
Well, the sump pump inspection is the one that that's where we're seeing the numbers and we're seeing the positive results. I have a chart on that, and I'll email that out to the council so you know. I don't want to throw out a bad number. I'll get that emailed out to everyone where we're at so far.
Anybody else want to play Stump the Engineer? Feel free.
Stephen, this is Mike. Just a quick, because I'm sort of new to this, and I know you guys have been doing this for a few years. Can you give me a 20-second recap on what the process is and how folks get notified and how they set up those inspection times?
Yeah, there are mailers that go out. We research property owner addresses and also rental owner addresses. If it's a rental property, it goes to both the renter and the homeowner. We have in our ordinance that they have a certain amount of time to respond to that notice for the inspection. We actually give them double the amount of time. I think we send out about 4 notices to them before we would actually give them a citation. So the process, we give them a letter. It details the process for calling a WHKS 1-800 number, where there is a multiple blocks of time where they can apply or set up their inspection. And then it's automated from there, and our inspector shows up based on the time that they requested. So again, approximately 4 mailings go out to them before there'd be any repercussions. But so we give them lots of opportunities to get signed up through that 1-800 number, or they can call the city and we can help them guide them through the process and get them connected with WHKS as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No. All right, if not, we'll look for a resolution on item number 11, approving consulting services with WHKS for phase 4 of the I&I program.
So move the resolution. Paul?
Second,
Thank
Becky.
Becky, thank you. Tom?
Councilmember Waller,
Aye.
Postma,
Aye.
Bashusta,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Baskin,
Aye.
Obala,
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thanks, Tom. Number 12 is a resolution approving consulting services with WHKS for the evaluation of the Cedar River siphons. Understand to be about 100 years old, amazingly. Steve?
Yeah, and we bring forward another proposal with WHKS because 4 years ago when we started that I&I program, we solicited proposals from multiple contract consultants, and WHKS came back with a great amount of experience in the collection system side of sanitary sewers. So we bring forward for you tonight, as the mayor mentioned, a proposal to evaluate our existing siphon. We've got some maps included in your backup material to show where that siphon is located, going underneath the Cedar River, just south of, I believe, Dresner Park. And again, as the mayor mentioned as well, this siphon has been in place since 1921. So 100 years of use, and siphons actually work very well when they're built and constructed right. And for something to be in place for 100 years, you know, it was constructed well back in the day. So, but we want to, the concrete is starting to deteriorate. We want to evaluate those pipes that go underneath the river, make sure that they are working properly, not taking on water. Again, all part of our I&I program, and look to either refurbish or rebuild this siphon. And the initial steps in this proposal from WHKS in the amount of $10,000 is some project management, evaluating the hydraulics, and then developing preliminary cost analysis and a summary report back to us. So we'd recommend to propose with costs for this coming 50% local option sales tax and 50% wastewater fund. We'd recommend awarding this project to, or this consultant services to WHKS.
Thank you, Mr. Lang. Questions? Hearing none, look for a resolution on item number 12.
So move the resolution, Paul.
Second, Becky.
Is there a second? Becky, thank you. Tom?
Councilmember Waller,
Aye.
Postma,
Aye.
Bashusta,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Baskin,
Aye.
Obala,
Aye.
Councilmember Large Austin.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thanks, Tom. Staying with Mr. Lang, a resolution, item number 13, approving an airport hangar lease with Hormel Foods Corporate Services, LLC. Stephen?
Yeah, my last item for you tonight is this hangar lease agreement. Wanted to give you just a little background of where we get funding at for operations and maintenance of the Austin Municipal Airport. We have 12 private hangars located out at the airport. All of them have different ranges of lease agreements. We also get state aid maintenance funds for the airport, as well as some property rentals for some farmland that the city owns around the airport. So those are our three revenue sources, and we generate about $90,000 of revenue from those different lease and state aid dollars. But that doesn't cover our full operation and maintenance costs. We have about $111,000 of costs out at the airport for electricity, heating, maintenance, all of those things. So there is a portion of tax levy, typically about $21,000 a year, that is also goes toward the airport. So as we develop these different lease agreements, we want to take that into consideration, that the airport is not self-sustaining. So looking at this new agreement with Hormel, they built their hangar 20 years ago, back in 2001. So we have had 2 10-year agreements with them. So the lease agreement language is very standard to the way it has been previously, with a few modifications, as I have shown there on the memo. One, we made some adjustments to their parking and road square footage to better quantify that with our new aerial photography. We were able to do that. We updated the term of the lease, another 10-year lease beginning June 1 of 2021 and ending May 31st of 2031. We applied a 3% increase to the previous rent amounts and calculated new square footage rates for them. And then we also just revised the leasee as they've gone through some different management there at Hormel, getting that updated. So this will result in about a $2,000 per year increase to what our current revenue is. And Hormel has reviewed this, and they are in agreement with the documents, and we would recommend approving this lease agreement, a new 10-year lease agreement, Hormel Foods Corporate Services, LLC.
Excellent. Thank you, Stephen. Looking for a resolution for item number 13.
So move the resolution, Paul.
Paul, thank you. Is
Second, Becky.
there a second? Second, Becky? Thank you. Tom?
Councilmember Waller,
Aye.
Postma,
Aye.
Bashusta,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Baskin,
Abstain.
Obala,
Aye.
Councilmember Large Austin.
Aye.
Resolution passes 6-0 with 1 abstaining, Your Honor.
Thank you, Tom. I'm assuming Jason Baskin abstained because the airport will soon be named after him, at least the airport, the Hormel hangar. So appreciate
like
that
that.
abstention.
I'll get on that.
Moving on to item number 14, looking for resolution approving exceptional performance pay for the Director of Administrative Services. Craig?
Thank you, Mayor, members. Mr. Dankert has requested consideration for provision in his contract. I concur that he's demonstrated exceptional performance over the last year. Be happy to answer any other questions council has, but we need council direction to authorize that up to 3% lump sum.
No, Craig, I agree. Well earned, Mr. Dankert. Thank you. Questions or comments from council on item number 14?
Nope, this is Jason. I'd make a
Okay.
motion to approve the full 3%. I think Tom does a great job.
Second that, Jeff.
Thank you.
Mr.
Tom?
Dankert, for your efforts.
Councilmember Waller,
Aye.
Postma,
Aye.
Bashusta,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Baskin,
Aye.
Obala,
Aye.
Councilmember Large Austin.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, and thank you, people, I appreciate it.
We appreciate you.
Thank you, Tom. I'm wondering if you got paid by the amount of roll calls you did this year. Would that be better pay?
Roll call.
Something like that, getting close to it.
I didn't work that in.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you do, Tom. Item number 15 is a resolution approving the lot consolidation for Hal Henderson. Holly?
Let me get myself lined up here. All right, we have, let's see, this is located in the Westridge Estates subdivision. This subdivision has existed for some time. These parcels are located between 24th and 25th Street Southwest. The owner of the subdivision and the parcels in question has someone who's interested in buying 3 lots in order to build a residential home there. So the proposed subdivision has been reviewed by city staff and utilities, just noting that there's some existing easements that should remain. The buyer and seller are aware of those easements and have no concerns about that. Any questions about the combining of these 3 lots?
Where'd you say they were located,
Council?
Holly?
It's just south of Oakland Avenue West, between 24th Street and 25th Street. There's an aerial there. I mean, it's zoomed in, so it's kind of hard to tell, but there's apartments directly to the west.
Just east of Shade Tree Motors.
Right, okay. Yeah, it's kind of a hill. You can't see it on the flat map, but there's a hill kind of in between the 2 lines, so.
I saw your light bulb go off.
Okay.
Got it.
Thank you. Any other questions for Holly? If not, looking for entertain a motion or 15 or a resolution for item number 15.
So moved, Postma.
Second, Baskin.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Jason. Holly or Tom?
Councilmember Waller,
Aye.
Postma,
Aye.
Bashusta,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Baskin,
Aye.
Obala,
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you, Tom. Good, Holly, that we see the dogs are well behaved tonight. Thank you for that. That's nice. Moving on to a motion for number 16, approving a COVID adjustment to the Bruins rent. Kevin?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As
Oh,
many know, the pandemic has caused financial strains for many businesses across the state and here in Malheur County and Austin as well. One of those businesses impacted has been the Austin Bruins. Craig and I had some conversations with the Bruins ownership after they sought some forbearance of their ice rent, which has been mounting since the start of the pandemic. After many weeks of limited use and attendance, they've gone from no attendance to 150 to 250. Now, that's still very lacking for that facility. And a number of weeks of no ice use. We're delighted to say that the Bruins are still operating out of Riverside Arena, and we certainly hope for that to continue. That being said, after some negotiating, we're recommending a forbearance of approximately 55% of what has accrued by a lease and invoicing the Bruins the remaining $17,296.
excellent. We City of Austin continues to, be appreciative of that partnership with the Bruins, and I think that's fair. Council, questions? Hearing none, looking for a motion for item number 17.
So
Oh, I'm
moved,
sorry, item number
Austin.
16.
So moved,
Thank you,
Austin.
Jeff.
Second, Paul.
Thank you, Jeff. Second. Paul, thank you. Mr. Dankert?
Councilmember Waller,
Aye.
Postma,
Aye.
Pashusta,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Baskin,
Aye.
Obala,
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thanks, Tom. Item number 17 is a motion granting the Planning and Zoning Department the power to contract with the removal of junk and/or illegally stored vehicles at 408 2nd Street Southeast, the Hernandez property.
So moved, Paul.
Second, Joyce.
Paul, thank you. Second, Joyce, thank you. Tom?
Councilmember Waller,
Aye.
Postma,
Aye.
Pashusta,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Baskin,
Aye.
Obala,
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you, Tom. Citizens addressing the council. Are there any citizens wishing to address the council on any item? Hearing none, seeing none. Honorary council member, is Teresa there in person?
She's via Zoom.
Zoom.
No, Your Honor, I'm on Zoom.
Okay. Teresa, you have any comments?
No, I just want to give a shout out to Craig. He connected me with the departments these last 2 weeks, and I really enjoyed visiting the different departments and learning a little bit more about the city.
Right. I think that was excellent that you chose to pursue that and really kind of make your honorary council membership here even more valuable. So appreciate you visiting with those department heads and them taking the time to visit with you.
Yes, thank you.
See that. On to reports and recommendations. Craig.
Thank you, Mayor. The only item that I want to mention and give some recognition, Senator Dornick is a co-author of Senate File 752, and Senator Abler is the chief author of that, but Senator Dornick agreed to co-author that at in part our request locally. I was able to testify on behalf of that legislation to help him through his presentation. It was laid over for possible inclusion in their housing bill, but we appreciate the work Senator Dornick's doing on our behalf. Otherwise, I believe Julie Kleinfelter has an item when you're ready, Mayor, from staff reports.
Sure. Thank you, Craig. Julie.
Yes, good evening, council and mayor. I just wanted to make sure you didn't forget what I looked like or sounded like, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, possibly. Oh, yep. I just wanted you to know what's going on kind of at the library. I know tonight we have a concert via Facebook Live at 7 o'clock. Most of us probably will still be here, so we'll miss it. But just so you know that at the aplmn.org website is where all of our activities are advertised, and we have quite a few things that we have been able to collaborate with and share out in southeastern Minnesota, and this Invoke concert is one of them. This is a quartet that is explained as being not classical, but not classical. So we're hoping it'll be a good show tonight. Also, the Social Justice Book Club coming up March 18th. We're doing a book called Gender Your Guide. If you've ever wondered about the when people sign off on their emails and they have their pronouns there, that's a little bit about what this is about. So we have a good group that's going to gather, I think, on March 18th. About 10 people signed up so far for that book, and we'll be doing a different book every month. We are doing this in conjunction with the Human Rights Commission, and we've also got Riverland on board to help advertise for us and do some hosting later on in the year. And then last but not least, for those of you bakers out there, we have the Edible Book Festival again this year. We're not going to be able to have our items brought in, but if you do like to bake, you can submit a photo of your edible book-inspired creations up until March 30th, and we'll be doing 2 prize groups, one for 15 and under and one for 16 and older, and we'll be posting those on our social media as well. So even though we aren't as able to do as many things in person right now, we're still trying to get as many virtual things going on at the library until we can get everybody together outside, hopefully, this spring and fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Any other comments from department heads? If not, we'll go with we'll go around the horn with council. We'll start with Joyce.
Oh, boy. I have a couple of things. I just want to say congratulations to the now Lieutenant Hartman, and also wish Lieutenant Mueller a wonderful retirement. And let's see. Julie, I don't know if you're still, yeah, she is. Julie, I think, I'm on the library board, and you have just done a great job with thinking outside the box with everything. So I'm hearing a lot about that out in the community. I think that's wonderful. And is Kevin
Great,
still
thank
here?
you.
Yeah, you bet. Kevin, Parks and Rec?
Yes.
I'm
So,
here.
I've had a couple of people contact me wondering why they have to have reservations to cross-country ski, because they get a lot of out-of-town guests and may, decide they want to do that, and then they get there and can't. So,
It's the number of people who come into the facility all at once to do the rentals, and trying to limit that exposure of people all in the facility at once rather than a crowd coming through the door. If they're able to make reservations in advance, it helps to control that.
okay. How far in advance?
Typically, if you reserve with him in advance, you'll be able to make some spacing in terms of he'll know the day of, or the day before. I would have to chat with Luke to see exactly how far in advance they want that reservation.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Joyce. Let's go, Mike Postma.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mike. Becky?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Austin?
Nothing, Your Honor.
No more articles you're contributing to around the
No,
country?
no.
Nothing?
I've been contacted by that lesser-known Austin anytime soon.
That's right. That's smaller, Austin.
Get your A game back on. All right, Obala?
Thank you, Mayor. And one comment that I want to make, I think the last weekend, it's been amazing with the work that our Moore County CEO have been doing with the drive-through TV movie. And had opportunity to visit with them last week and talk to them about, the work that City Council are doing in the community and the work that we are doing. So, and they're very, very happy to hear from me. And the question they asked me, they're like, what can we do to come and see one day how the City Council works? So, and then I told them I will take it back to the council and ask the mayor. So if you guys want to come as a group and just sit down, observe the meeting, one of the meeting, that would be amazing. So they really want to learn about to be involved, through our community. Overall, I think the work they have done this weekend has really bring positive image to our city. Yeah.
Thank you, Obala. I totally agree that CEO program is probably the best thing my graduating senior did last year. No doubt he would also admit to that. So they do incredible work. Mr. Baskin?
Only thing I have is had the opportunity to be interviewed by somebody from the U of M Humphrey School today on a project they're doing on how rural communities are dealing with diversity. And they were blown away by the amount of work that Austin's done, now as well as over the last 20 years. I think we are light years ahead of where a lot of rural communities are. So a lot of credit to the people in this room and to the people in this community for their work, and look forward to seeing their final report come out, because I think it'll be very positive for Austin.
Thank you. That's great to hear, Mr. Baskin. Thanks for representing us. Mr. Fisher, speaking of pronouns, I don't know if you guys have noticed, Paul, it's Councilmember Fisher, it. He writes below it, it. He's an it.
Oh, no. I have nothing.
Mr. Fisher.
I hope you enjoy the time at home getting your crossword puzzles done during your quarantine. Maybe a little baking and some cooking and.
Absolutely. Thanks for your kind words, Paul. I really have nothing. I have nothing further. We'll just take a 5-minute break after we adjourn this for the work session, and I hope you guys thoroughly enjoy your grinders. So with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn till March 15th.
So moved, Austin.
Second, Becky.
Thank you, Jeff. Second, Becky. Thank you. Mr. Dankert?
Councilmember Waller.
Aye.
Postma.
Aye.
Pashusta.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Baskin.
Aye.
Obala.
Aye.
Councilmember Large Austin.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Tom. We'll just take a 5-minute break, and I'll zoom back in when you guys get seated. Thank you.
Oh.